Hey there! How do you find your story ideas? In today's video, I want to let you in on some secrets on how I find mine. If you don't know already, I am Jay Nicole, a romance author with over 40 books. Honestly, I kind of don't remember the exact count, but I know I haven't hit 50 quite yet, but hope to by the end of this year. So how do I come up with all these story ideas? Well, sometimes it's very hit or miss, sometimes it's very strategic, and sometimes it falls somewhere in between. But I will say the story ideas for me come mostly at the most random times. And when the story idea comes to me, it can be in the form of a title or maybe a character and their description or maybe even dialogue. Often I will tell people that I have characters talk to me in my mind and I can hear the back and forth between them. Some may call them that something else, but I call it the characters talking to me. But I'd say the best way to keep the ideas flowing is to keep your mind open to possibility and imagination. And that's cute for keeping all of the junk out of your mind. I do that by meditation. I meditate on the daily, and I think that has allowed me to clear my mind for creativity to flow and to continue to flow. I find that when some people complain of suffering from writer's block, it's because there's too much on their mind that the creativity is hitting a block and it cannot come forth because you have everything else on your mind. What you need to do for the day, what you need to do for your job if you still work a full-time job, what you need to do for your family, your friends, etc. If all of that is clogging your mind, the creativity is having a hard time to push through. But I'll talk about meditation and how I keep my mind clear on another video. So that's a segue to tell you, make sure you subscribe. So anyways, back to story ideas. That's what I'm here for today. So make sure you listen all the way through to the end. Finding ideas can happen, like I said, randomly. But I always encourage you to ask yourself, what if? So for instance, if you see the person who delivers your mail, maybe it's a man or a woman, whoever it is, but they always deliver a lot of packages to the same house. And one day, what would happen if they went to the door and asked the woman who they see there if she's single and would like to go out on a date? What would happen? What would happen if she wasn't single? That would be a whole nother story. What if you are at the grocery store and you see the person behind the deli cutting up a lot of meat? And that person is always giving their deli meat to a single woman who's always with her little boy, and she notices she's not wearing a ring, finds out that she's single, and asks her out on a date. What would happen? Or what if a woman is going to get her car serviced at her local auto shop and she walks in and the person servicing her car asks her out on a date? Those are all ways that a story can start. Obviously, lots more detail needs to be defined, but it's an idea that can continue if you ask yourself, what if? Continuously asking yourself, what if, will then define the full story that needs to outline itself for you to have a complete book. So don't forget to ask yourself, what if? So next time you're out at the grocery store and you see someone on the aisle beside you, start asking yourself, what if that person was single? What would her character, whatever she's dressed like, whatever she seems, is she nice, is she grumpy, whatever, what type of person would she attract? And what if that person was on the other side of the aisle and asked her out? Sometimes I also get some of my greatest story ideas from song lyrics. I love listening to music. I love listening to the lyrics and all they have to say. But oftentimes, just a simple word in a song will trigger an idea for me. For instance, in my story, Greetings from Tuckerville, I listened to Nelly's country album, which I think is called Heartland, maybe. Don't fault me if I'm wrong for that. Whatever that country album is called, came out like last year or maybe 2 years ago. Time is irrelevant. I have no idea when it came out. It was recent though. Whenever that album came out, I listened to that from beginning to end and literally just jotted down different ideas as they came to me. Well, his song entitled Someone Somewhere gave me inspiration for my book, Somebody Somewhere. His other song, 5 Drinks Ago, gave me inspiration for my book entitled Alcohol Confessions. So you see, listening to music and the lyrics that are described in them can help you spur story ideas. I would say that country music lends its way to storytelling, so some of that is very helpful to give you story ideas. But R&B can be the same, so can rap. I think the only genre that doesn't quite make sense would be maybe rock and roll, but I don't know. Maybe you can find a story idea from that. I don't really listen to it, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But music absolutely can spur story ideas. The other way that I get ideas is in conversation with people. So I talk to friends, family, and while talking to them, they can say something that will spur an idea. And I like to keep my phone handy for notes that I need to take down regarding the story. So if someone's talking to me and I get an idea, I'll quickly jot down a note. So if you're my friend and you're watching this and you've ever had a conversation for me, maybe you've spurred a story idea. Who knows? Instead of dismissing those ideas that come to you, I definitely say write down everything. If you think, what if for a story, write it down. The worst thing you could do is dismiss it and then later be thinking of needing a story and don't have that to reference. So even if it's just one line, sometimes my ideas in my notebooks will look like a title. It will look like a couple of brief little description. Sometimes it's a lot more than that. It just depends on what the idea is and how much was downloaded when I thought of it. But I try to write down it all so that when I go back to it, when I'm ready to write that story, I have enough detail to then trigger the idea into a full-length book. And another thing to not fall victim to is getting a new idea and letting that overcome a story that you're currently working on. Because new ideas are always the bright and shiny thing that you want to chase after. But don't fall for that. Let it sit in your notebook, wherever that may be, and let it rest until whatever you're working on is complete. And then pick it up and find the next book that you want to work on. If you feel stuck on ideas, I encourage you to go out and explore the world, but from a different point of view. Explore the world, like I said, asking yourself, what if? Take in your surroundings. It could be with animals, because animals could be characters too, right? It could be with other people, friends, families, randomly listening into people, but don't be creepy, at the coffee shop. At the mall, at work. Have you ever heard of a workplace romance? Anywhere that you go, ideally it can spur an idea. So don't waste those experiences. Allow those things to come to you. Another thing I like to say, one of my activities that I like to do is giving dialogue to random people and characters, and that too can spur story ideas for me. So for instance, when I'm in the car on the way to school with my daughter, oftentimes we'll see random animals running along and we'll give them a story. One of the most recent ones that we've done is with the birds. Because it's spring, we have a lot of birds coming around trying to create their nest. We've decided that it's the men who create the nest for the women who are pregnant who are going to lay their eggs. So we've come up with this extreme scenario for these birds who are building the nest and what things the female bird has told the male bird to do when building the nest and how he should find the nest. And then, for instance, one tried to build a nest in my reef on my door and I had to take that down so that we didn't end up with birds in the house. We imagined that on that day, the male bird, was somewhere nearby, cringing, thinking, oh my God, she's taking down my nest and my wife is going to kill me because we're not going to have one ready when it's time. Don't worry, I didn't take down a full nest. It's only a couple of branches, so if you had to start over, it wouldn't be too bad, I hope. Either way, I created a whole dialogue and scenario with my daughter and we went back and forth. And that alone was able to just spur creativity. So, in short, what I'm trying to say is stay creative. Just stay in that mode, allowing your mind to be clear and free from all distraction, and you'll never know what type of stories will come of that. So, let your imagination out of the box, let it be free, and just live, and you'll be surprised how many story ideas may come from just living. And like I said, never forget, always ask what if. I hope this is helpful and allows you to fill a notebook full of ideas ready for you to write. If it's helpful, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and I promise you I'll be bringing you much more content on how I have written consistently every day for the last however many years and how I was able to push out over 40 books. If you're interested in that, please subscribe and thank you for watching.